Time for Monty in the Morning.
Well, hello. Happy Monday, May 10th, 2021. And I just want to start the show saying, we told you so. I mean, that's,
Here we go.
What else can I say? We got it completely wrong on the Jazz and the Nuggets. We will talk about that. Are the Phoenix Suns and Denver Nuggets out of gas? I think it's a legitimate question, and it is a really important question. Because if you start looking at some of the results over the weekend, I think it's very telling. Anthony Davis and the Lakers, we have to talk a lot about their situation. But, of course, the first thing we want to do on this show is want to give things away.
Right.
Maybe just to, make it right from completely blowing the, I should just not continue that sentence. Not getting it right with the Jazz and the Nuggets. So we want to announce our newest contest. We gave away an Xbox over the weekend to S. We drove it to his house in Saratoga Springs.
To S.
Well, I don't, I mean.
Yeah, no, I know.
Agent S.
Agent S.
Really appreciated meeting Steve and hanging out in his front yard while he gardened for 5 minutes. It was awesome to see the new temple going up in Saratoga, and really cool. We got to meet. We just met a bunch of listeners over the weekend, and I thought it was really cool to do that. And the reason that we met so many people over the weekend is because we had done this giveaway, and the show really has kind of taken off through new subscribers and all of that stuff. So we wanted to reward you again. So at 750 subscribers, and I think currently we're at 560 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? We're at 559 subscribed. 560 on the dot. So at 750,
Yeah.
we are going to do another giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, it is not going to be an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to be, Jake?
So it's going to be a PlayStation 5. Now, I want to tell a quick story behind this because I think people will really relate to this. So I went online on Thursday, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, I know that PlayStation 5s are really hard to find, and, I'm probably not going to be able to find one, so we're probably going to have to go with, like, a 4, or, like, we're probably going to have to, like, find something, I mean, odds are we're not going to be able to find one. Well, lo and behold, what did I do? I did a Google search I just simply put in PlayStation 5 for sale. And this Walmart listing comes up for a bundle that they had been offering. So I order the bundle. What happens? It gets declined like 2 times, whether it was because of Apple or Walmart or whatever. So then I call Apple, and they're like, yeah, we cleared it out. Everything's fine.
Dick.
It's cool, whatever. And so then I reorder it, same listing and everything from Walmart.com, PlayStation 5. It's got the Spider-Man bundle or whatever. And it sits pending for literally almost a full day on my account. So it's confirmed now, so we should be good. It should be coming.
Oh, you got a confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, I got the confirmation email that they said it was going to be delivered on the 18th, but my only concern is, because I've heard some people around, I've heard some tea leaves on the internet, that when you order a PlayStation 5 from, from any major retailer, that they have left the listings up in hopes of getting business. So all I'm saying here is it was a PS5 that I ordered, and it should be 100% fine. Got the confirmation email, everything should be good, but we won't know until the 18th.
Well, now you make me nervous.
Because I'm nervous. I wouldn't be saying it if I wasn't nervous. So I'm just putting it out there like we're working really hard to have really good giveaways, and that's what's happened with this particular one. So we'll see what shows up on the 18th. It should be a PlayStation 5 with the Spider-Man bundle. Not that you guys want a Spider-Man game, but that just happened to be the one that I could get. So we'll see. But that's what it should be.
What makes you think people don't want a Spider-Man game?
Because it's a sports show, and I don't know. I think that like 2K or Madden or something.
People have kids, my friend. I don't know if you know this.
Maybe the Spider-Man game will work.
Just because you've never procreated doesn't mean that other people in the world don't procreate and plant seeds in the garden and stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, and on top of that, we are also going to throw in our unreleased, and we haven't released it yet in wide release.
Yeah.
It is available. But we also have our own proprietary clothing line, Elevated Clothing. So we are also going to throw in a custom hoodie for you from our clothing line. All of that to say, come on, man, hit the subscribe button. And real quick, just as a matter of doing some laundry before we move on. Our last month has been nothing short of phenomenal on this show, on YouTube and on the podcast. You guys really take great care of this show, and that's why we do giveaways. Every 250. We'll do another one at 1,000, but you can't get to 1,000
until you get to
750.
Real math majors over here.
We graduated from middle school.
Yeah.
So the point is, just a big thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for giving us a thumbs up. And once we get to 750, we are going to give away the PlayStation 5 and a sweatshirt to go with it. Just remember, though, if you are already subscribed, you're automatically entered in the contest. All new subscribers, it's just the same contest again. If you are a new subscriber, make sure you take a photo that shows you are subscribed to the show of your YouTube channel. You must tweet it. And yes, should we do Instagram on this contest?
I mean, we did it on the first one, so, I just think that if you're going to do Instagram, you got to make sure you tag us both so that we both see it. Because if we miss it and we don't see it, then, you're obviously not entered. So you want to make sure that you tag us both.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So all you have to do is take a picture that shows you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, post it on Twitter or Instagram, but you must tag us both. The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show, and SLC Supercars. Axel Granzini says, love watching you guys. I wake up at 4 a.m. and working alone until about 8. Listening to you guys is what I look forward to. Oh, Axel, good to hear
Thanks,
from you.
Man. Appreciate that.
Austin Parkins says, you're going to want to watch that PS5 delivery like a hawk.
Yeah.
I've heard multiple PS5s being misdelivered. My own had a signature confirmation, and FedEx still chucked it at my door and ran.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm telling you, this is a real thing. I'm telling you that the PS5 controversy is a real thing. Like, whether it's that, whether it's,
how do they know what's in the box?
I don't know. That's a good point. I'm not sure.
Forgotten Soul says, hey, Jake and Monty, so old subscribers don't have to tweet at you. Nope,
you're already entered, bro.
If you are already entered. We put all the people who had tweeted at us into a bowl that's sitting over here. And once we get to 750, we're just gonna, we're gonna keep adding. Yeah. And if you already entered in the 500, you don't have to enter in the 750.
Now that said, you could still tweet at us if you want.
Ain't nobody kicking that out of bed.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I like my crow over medium. Let's talk Utah Jazz basketball, because what a win Friday night at the Vivint when Bojan Bogdanovic absolutely lost his mind and dropped what should have been a 50-piece nugget. Thank you. I hate that phrase. But he dropped 48 points en route to just a dominant victory over the Denver Nuggets. And, yeah, I am stunned that they were able to get that kind of win to beat the Denver Nuggets, who outside of Murray are pretty fully healthy. They had their full complement of players. No excuses. The Utah Jazz were a better team on Friday night than the Denver Nuggets were, and I think we saw that. And to get that kind of performance out of Bojan Bogdanovic, to see him shoot the three that well, to see him attack the basket that well, to see him really be the catalyst for a win of that caliber, because I still hold the Denver Nuggets in very high regard. For the Utah Jazz, without Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley, to beat the Denver Nuggets like that, man, I think that's a huge win. There's no couching it. There's no spinning it, Jake. This was a dominant performance by the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I think that they came out and executed the game plan very clearly, and I think that you have to give Bogdanovic a lot of credit. I think the guy is absolutely, like, if you think back to where he was, all those months ago, headed into the All-Star break, really struggling, really just not in a great place. And now he's the reason that this team is beating the Nuggets and beating all these other teams. And I think, it's really simple. Like, yeah, we did get that game wrong, and I think, sitting there, we actually, where we were sitting in the arena, we were sitting on the Denver Nuggets end of the floor. That happened to be where our tickets were, and so we could see the bench and what was going on, and it was really interesting. What we noticed was that the Nuggets are just, while they have nice players and the roster is solid and Jokic is probably going to be the MVP, there is something missing with this unit without Jamal Murray, which is they and I don't know if this was just Friday night or if this happens on the whole with them, but they don't have like that it factor that really good teams have most nights, Like they don't have I don't even know how you would describe it, but basically just like
they lack a certain level of intensity.
Yeah, they're just kind of casual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you are a team like the Nuggets, you have to play on an edge because you have a lot of quiet players, like not, outwardly aggressive players. But, really the point is it doesn't matter. You look at the way that Bojan Bogdanovic played. I look at simply put, the performance that you got, and it is, I guess the word that comes to mind is it is shocking.
Yeah.
To see Bogey play at that level. I mean, this is out of nowhere. I look at, Jordan Clarkson gave you 21 on 6 of 14 shooting from 3. Fantastic performance. They don't win this game without Bojan Bogdanovic scoring 48. And they don't win this game without him knocking down a huge 3 from the corner. They don't win this game without him just being spectacular. That's all that you can say about Bojan Bogdanovic against the Denver Nuggets. It was everything you want. You got a mediocre performance out of Rudy that night. You look at, Joe Ingles only gave you 10 points. Like, you got nothing pretty much from anybody else other than Bogdanovic and Clarkson, and you dominated what a lot of people think is the best team in the Western Conference right now. And I got news for you. That's the Utah Jazz. The Jazz run the Western Conference. They are the best team in the NBA right now. I think they are playing incredible basketball. I'll even go this far as to say I thought the Rocket win was a more important win than the Nuggets win. Because if you turn around and lose that game to the Rockets, which they almost did. But if you turn around and lose that game to the Rockets, that Nuggets win looks a hell of a lot less incredible.
Yeah.
Right? So
it looks like it was a one-hit wonder versus you actually are that good of a team.
So I thought that Rocket win was just as important.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you explain the way Bogdanovic played.
So here's the
unbelievable.
thing. I think what's going to be really important, and we talked about this last week, if you listen to the show consistently, like we specifically talked about, the fact that, Bogey needs to continue to get the looks he's getting now when Don and Mike come back. That has to happen now. I think before this Nuggets game, it was a little bit in question whether he, sort of deserved that or had earned that opportunity, but now I don't think it's even in question. He came out in a big game, gave you 48 points, absolutely, delivered the dagger, did everything that a player, that one of your better players on the roster that you would ask of them. And I think that I'm not sitting here saying that Bogdanovic should get the ball for the last shot or anything like that. But what I am saying is that you can no longer just sit here and say that, Bogey should not be getting looks early in the game or that you should not be intentionally, pushing the ball to him so that he can get it going. And so I think that Nuggets win really sort of changes the outlook for this team in the postseason. I think once Don and Mike come back, if they can keep Bogdanovic going, this is a much better team than I think anybody really expected headed into the postseason.
How do you do that? How do you, when you look at this win and you realize how well Bogdanovic plays, and when he plays at that level, how much impact he has on this team, how do you make him the number 2 option? And I don't know that there's a clear-cut answer for that. Mm-hmm. Because Donovan Mitchell is always going to be the number 1.
Yeah.
He is a superstar player. He is on a much higher plateau than Bojan is. But I look at the way Bogey played against the Nuggets, and I look at the way he's played the last few weeks.
Yep.
You've got to keep him hot. And the only way to do that is to feed the beast. And I think what you have to do is you have to make him the number 2 option. You have got to have Mike Conley become a distributor, and the rotation of the basketball has to happen. And I think you've got to find sets. And again, I know that this is probably going to piss off Jazz fans. I think you have to reduce Rudy's minutes, and I think that you have to play a lot more aggressive offensively and go smaller. And if that means more Favors or more Niang, and you have a lineup where you have, Don, Conley, Bogey, Ingles, Clarkson, hey, that is what it is.
Yeah.
Because that lineup scores a hell of a lot more points. Now, in big situations, sure. Rudy Gobert had a couple of blocks. He played a role in that game Friday. Offensively, he was just about a 0.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that his offensive production, I think, is going to be 10, 12, 14 points a night in the playoffs because it's a lot more compressed. The possessions are a lot more tight and difficult in the postseason. And you have to have more than a dunk to score in the NBA playoffs. I think the role of Rudy Gobert should be, and rightfully so, reduced because when he's in the game, I also feel like the ball doesn't move as well. Mm-hmm. The reversal doesn't happen as quickly. Some of that's Jordan Clarkson, certainly. But, Jake, I think when you look at Bojan Bogdanovic, he has to be a priority now.
Yeah, he definitely has to be a priority. And I think that now with the development of his post game and his paint game, I think that is an asset for the Utah Jazz. I think this game Wednesday that they have against Portland is going to be a really interesting matchup for Bogey because Portland has some size at his position that will force him to have to bang a little bit more on the block. And I think that if he can turn into a guy who can give you, 10, maybe 12 points in the paint, and then the rest of his production comes from 3 like it did against the Nuggets, that just opens up this different dynamic for the team to work through. And it takes the pressure off of guys like Mike Conley, who, now you don't necessarily need Mike to give you 25 a night to be in a much better position. And I also think that with Bogdanovic being a threat down low, in addition to the 3-point line, I think that's going to give Donovan Mitchell more space to operate as well because the defense can't sag off Bogey so much. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what Quinn does with this starting 5. I think it's a legitimate question. Which way are you going to go?
But here's an even bigger question. Can you count on Bojan Bogdanovic? Hello. Can you count on Bojan Bogdanovic to be a 30-point-a-guy night in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And here's my question.
Yeah.
Can you count on Bojan Bogdanovic to be a 20-point-a-night guy in the playoffs?
Yeah, I definitely think you can count on for 20 for sure. I think 20 is more than reasonable. I think 30 is a question.
Then who takes a step back? Because who have we seen struggle or who have we seen reduced because Bogey's having big nights? Well, that's Joe Ingles. I mean, if you look at Ingles against Denver, was that 10 points? Mm-hmm. I mean, you start seeing that those two have similar roles in this offense.
Right.
And I think when Bogey's putting up 30, it's very difficult for Jingles to do that.
Right.
And guys like George Niang, they're always going to have theirs because there's a lack of respect for those guys.
Yeah.
Guys like Ingles, arguably the best 3-point shooter in the game right now. If you look at percentages, I mean, I still would take Steph, thank you. But I think you look at Joe Ingles, when the ball leaves his hand, it almost always looks like it's going in.
Yeah, I definitely think that Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson and George Niang can be the bench mob for the Jazz. I think that's what seems to be the natural fit. And I think it's Don, it's Conley, it's Bogey, it's Royce, and it's Rudy. That's your starting 5, and I think that's just what it is. And I think for Joe Ingles, I think you're one of the first guys off the bench, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's why I say this isn't a conversation of oh well, Bogey hasn't earned this or somehow there's luck involved. He went out and he proved a point. I mean he very clearly knew it was a big game. He was looking to get fouled early. He was looking to establish himself, and he did that. And what do you know? He's got 22 going into the half, and we're sitting there okay, He's got 22. Is he going to get to 40? Is he going to get to 45? And what does he finish with? 48. And I think when you do that, you can't put a price on, hey, the emotions are really positive right now. The momentum's in my favor. I'm doing everything that I can do. Give me the minutes. Give me the ball. And that's, you just got to ride that wave until it simmers out. Because at some point this is the other side of the conversation. At some point for Bogey, he will cool off again. It will happen. And I don't think if you're a Jazz fan, you should hold that against him. He's playing at an unreal level right now. So when he does come back to earth a little bit, I think he is a 25 to 30 point a night guy in the postseason. And that's just where he's at.
Now, looking at the Denver side of this, I think they definitely miss Will Barton. I don't think there's any question that they miss Monte Morris. I think they miss him. But I don't understand, and maybe this is just me. I have no idea what Malone was looking at rotation-wise. And I'm sure that, Michael Malone is a hell of a head coach. What were you doing with Nikola Jokic? While he was in the game, you never really ran ISO for him.
Yeah.
You never allowed him to post up. There may have been 5 touches with his back to the basket.
Yeah.
Obviously he had a huge impact on the stat line, but I don't think the impact in the game matched what the stat line said, because I don't think he had a huge game because you didn't give him the ball.
Yeah.
And I think I look at Michael Porter Jr. exactly as advertised. We kind of felt like Michael Porter Jr., we felt like Michael Porter Jr. was going to dominate this game. He did. But the missing piece here was Jokic.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. You left him on the bench for that 10-minute span in the third and fourth quarter.
Coming out of the half. You left him on the bench until 8 minutes left.
No. Nikola Jokic started the second half, but you sat him down midway through the third quarter, and he did not come in until deep into the halfway into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And by that time, the Jazz had really taken control of the game, and he did not get back into any kind of flow or rhythm. And I think it was a big reason why they won this game. You were relying on Austin Rivers at one point to score you points.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were looking at.
Yeah, I don't know what the game plan was. I mean, when Jokic was in the game, it was essentially point Jokic. He was kind of getting the offense going, and he was being a passive offensive player. He was looking to distribute. He was looking to get other guys involved, and I just, for the life of me, if I'm the Denver Nuggets, again, this is no shade towards the Jazz, but if you put yourself in the shoes of Mike Malone and the Denver Nuggets, and you're like, okay, this is what I have to work with, I'm absolutely taking Nikola Jokic, and I'm sending him after Rudy Gobert. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing probably 10 to 12 one-on-one possessions in this game. I'm looking to spread the floor, and I'm looking to create a situation where I have to force the Jazz to double Jokic so then he can pass out and we can get an open look. That's what I expected going into the game, and then that's just not what we got. Now, I want to be really clear. We're not sitting on this show saying that, the Nuggets played a really bad game and that's why the Jazz won. The Jazz deserve all the credit in the world. They played a phenomenal game. They did them. They came out and they executed. They deserve that. But what I am saying is that the Denver Nuggets definitely did not execute at their fullest potential. And if these two teams match up in the postseason, I do really think it would be a deep, long, grinded out kind of series.
Yeah.
Again, I just think that's what would happen.
It'll be interesting to me to see how this Nuggets team evolves into the postseason. Because I look at the way the Jazz were able to, attack the basket, and I think that how do I say this on Denver? I wonder if the lack of intensity we saw Friday night is indicative of what this team will look like in the postseason, and I can't believe that it will, because when they got down in the fourth quarter, they were able to turn it up. The problem was not that they didn't get shots. They didn't make shots.
Yeah.
That was the issue for Denver. Michael Porter Jr. ran out of gas. And here's the other thing I would say about Michael Malone. I thought he completely blew the rotations. He ran MPJ into the ground.
Yeah.
And then he had to take him out in the fourth quarter because he was just done.
Yeah.
sits him for 5 minutes, brings him back, and he again hits another three, but you don't have anybody to go with him because I think you just don't have a rotation right now. And it's not Murray. I think Barton's the guy you really miss more. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. Mick says, I appreciate you guys owning your stupidity. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Jerry says, you guys never read my comments because you know I'm right. Rudy Gobert's the best center in the NBA. You just won't say it.
I disagree.
He's not the best player. I just don't think he's the best center in the NBA.
You're going to have to come with more than that. You're going to have to come with a reason. You're going to have to come with some kind of stat. You're going to have to come with something other than, hey, he blocked Jokic at the end of the game. I mean, you're going to have to do better.
I think, Rudy, see, like the block shots are going to happen. Like,
but everybody is living and dying on that. Everybody's saying, oh, well, Jokic didn't have a big night, and Rudy blocked him.
Jokic had a huge night.
But I'm just telling you that's what the sentiment is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that's what people think happened in this game, and I'm not. Again, I'm just trying to continue to say I give the Jazz all the credit in the world, but I also think that if we're staying true to what we do on the show, which is we're being honest about what happened in this game, there is a portion of the conversation that is Mike Malone and this team mismanaged this game.
Why Paul Millsap didn't play more of the fourth quarter?
Had his way with Bogey early in the game. Simply put, had his way.
I don't understand it. I look at, by the way, Nikola Jokic, 24 points, 13 dimes, and 9 boards.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that he was able to do what he wanted to do. And by the way, he was 2 of 2 from 3 and 9-11 from the floor. So the argument of
and how many minutes too?
In 35 minutes is all he played, which is
it's not a lot of minutes for him.
I don't know. You're losing to the top team in the West, and he is on the bench for actual 10-minute stretch between the third and fourth quarter that I just can't figure out. I look Aaron Gordon. This game mattered.
Yeah,
this was not some throwaway game. And Michael Malone just didn't coach it that way. And Campazzo is, look, he's a nice little story. He's not good enough, in my opinion, to be your starting point guard. That's where you miss Will Barton.
Yeah.
You needed Will Barton in this game. Austin Rivers played really well. He gave you 18 points on 5 of 7 from 3.
It's what you want from him.
You just could not keep up with the Jazz. And it was... Again, Bogdanovic was sensational, but a lot of this was self-inflicted damage by Michael Malone. And I think when he goes back and looks at this, and I know that Aaron Gordon's managing this knee, but I look at the contributions that you got from Millsap, didn't play enough in the fourth quarter. He gave you 19 points in this game. He was 2 of 4 from 3, only played 27 minutes.
Not enough.
And was clearly pissed he wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
I look at Aaron Gordon only playing 30 minutes. I look at Campazzo playing 33 minutes, giving you 5 points.
Nothing.
Why are you playing Campazzo more than you're playing Austin Rivers? And furthermore, why isn't Austin Rivers bringing the ball up and allowing Jokic to play on the block?
Don't get it, dude.
It just was really fascinating. Mike, you won't read my comment. Mike, I read your comment every day. Mike says, you guys never read my comments, but you've been selling Bogey short all season long. Okay, listen.
Here we go.
This was a spectacular performance out of Bojan Bogdanovic. This guy has been a roller coaster all season. Locked in January and February. March and April, he was not very good. And now here he is with 48 in one of the biggest games of the year. Tip your cap to the guy. He played really well, but let's not make this out that we've been selling, Bogdanovic short all season. He has been trash for a long stretch, and this flip of the switch to attacking the basket is exactly what he needed to get back to the style of game that got him to where he is. He became too reliant on threes.
And by the way, it should be said that Quinn Snyder should be getting credit for that, not Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yes,
because Quinn is what brought that out.
Yep. Mick says, finally, you guys are being honest about Bogdanovic. He is a superstar, the real number 2.
He is not a superstar. Stop.
Relax.
Stop.
Relax. They almost lost to Houston, and he scored 20 points. If he only scores 20 points against Denver, he didn't. He scored 48. If he only scores 20, they lose by 20. So I agree that he came through when they needed him. But he's not a guy that's going to carry a team at all. Logan says, I'm just here to find out where you're buying me lunch from, Monty. Remember me saying that Jazz were going to beat Denver and that they would make it 20-plus threes. Okay, in particular, Logan, I'm not sure. But, hey, yeah, I'm down. That's awesome. Listen, they shot the ball incredibly well, 21 of 46 from three. If you think you're going to live like that in the playoffs, I would question that. Because we've seen the methodology to beat the Jazz is have your guards push out the three-point stripe. I think that's really important. Achille Jean-Pierre says, LOL, I think Shaq Harrison was nervous. Oh, my God,
You think?
Absolutely. He was terrible. Absolutely. But everybody has injuries this time of year. You can't blame injuries. Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley didn't play for the Jazz. They're injured.
Yeah.
Everybody's got injuries. So you got real quality out of your depth players. But Harrison, he did look nervous. Again, Trent Forrest should never shoot another three with these mechanics. Like Trent Forrest's mechanics on three are awful.
Yeah, it's brutal.
They are ugly. Aaron says, I don't know where we're getting superstar out of Bogey. It was one game. Settle down.
Yeah,
he's not a superstar.
Listen, I think again, we're working hard today to say, hey, the Jazz deserve a lot of credit for this win. Bogey deserves a lot of credit for what he did against the Nuggets. But again, I think, I've made this specific point so many times. Like, as Jazz fans, you guys can't get high on the one game performance out of Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a 25 to 30 point a night guy in the postseason if they feature him, if they make a concerted effort to get him the ball, which I still have some concerns about. We can't yet definitively say that when this team is 100% healthy, that Bogdanovic is going to get the ball. That remains to be seen. Now, I think he should. I definitely think he deserves it. You can't tell the guy no now, but he's not a superstar. He's not going to be giving you 40 points a night in the postseason. Like, that's just not who he is.
Drew says, I hope we all don't get too high off of the fumes of this win. It's one game against a battered Nuggets team. This doesn't happen against Anthony Davis and the Lakers. I look at Anthony Davis and the Lakers last night. That win against the Suns is very telling. And we did a show last week where we talked about whether or not the Lakers were better off without LeBron James. It's a real question right now because I'm seeing an Anthony Davis that really is back at full strength, and he is putting up huge numbers. And I don't know how you get LeBron back into this offense comfortably. Frankly, looking at the box from last night, Anthony Davis dominated. 13 of 27 from the floor, 15 of 17 at the stripe, 12 rebounds, 42 points, 3 blocks, 3 steals, 5 dimes. Anthony Davis is a machine. Why? Don't. Here we go. The point is, he's a major contributor, and that's a superstar. That is not surprising when Anthony Davis scores 42 points.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Lakers are better off without LeBron James. I'm curious what a Laker-Jazz 7-game series looks like.
I think it's difficult to say the least. I think that it's an adventure if you're Rudy Gobert looking at that, because I don't know how Rudy Gobert stays with Anthony Davis. I don't know what that looks like because the Lakers are not going to make the mistake that the Nuggets made, which is, hey, we're not going to feature Anthony Davis. They're going to feature Anthony Davis. They're going to let him eat, and yes. I think that when it's really interesting what happens to the Jazz when Rudy is in a really difficult matchup individually. Like I go back to like the Philly game. You can see the body language of the team changes drastically when there's an unstoppable big on the other side. And I think that, that's kind of what I was a little bit nervous about heading into the Nuggets game like, is Jokic going to roll out for 40 and 10 against, Rudy? And that didn't happen because of the way they decided to execute the game. So, yeah, I think the question of what does Lakers Jazz look like, I think is a really valid question. I think, again, I'm not saying that the Jazz are going to get their doors blown off, but I do think it's concerning. How are you going to stop Anthony Davis?
Well, and I think more than that, the thought of this Laker team playing like this, where you're getting real contributions out of Morris, Cantavius, like you're getting real contributions across the board that allow a guy like Anthony Davis to play at that level. That's where things get scary, because what we're seeing is Andre Drummond's perfectly willing to play a lesser role offensively to let Anthony Davis have that kind of space. And that's something that, absolutely. Jeremy Bolton says, as a Jazz fan, I want to avoid a healthy Laker team in any round of the playoffs. I think there's a lot of fans in the West who would feel that way. Frankly, I think this Golden State matchup is a real telling matchup as well. Like, how do you, if you are the Utah Jazz, how do you defend Steph Curry tonight? Like, this is a real question, though.
So I think though, if you're the Jazz, this is definitely a game you should win, no doubt about it.
Yes.
I think the thing for Steph is that, and this is what's so impressive about what he's doing. I mean, it legit is him and everybody else, and so the Warriors are running that motion offense, move the ball a lot, get guys open looks, and if they're making shots, they win games. If they don't, they don't. It's really, really simple for the Warriors. And I think that, if you're the Jazz defending defending Steph and the Warriors, you have to understand you can't be going under screens. That's just not that's not a possibility.
You can't do it. I mean, there's no way. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. I think it's incredibly important to understand that Steph is going to get his.
Yeah.
You cannot have other guys go off in this game. And I think offensively it'll be interesting to see, because I think Draymond offers a real conundrum. Like, he can guard you across the board.
Yeah.
I would think he's going to be on Bogdanovic. I don't think there's no doubt about that, because now with what we've seen over the weekend, is there anybody that's going to say, hey, Bogey's just is what he is? No. He's the focus of your defense now.
Yeah.
On this team, there's no doubt about that. This is the game where Rudy should eat.
Yeah, he should. No Wiseman, no size that really should. I mean, they've got I can't remember his name. They've got another big there that plays consistently for them, who's been on the postseason runs with them and everything. So I think that overall the Warriors should not win this game.
Looney? Are you
talking about Looney? Kevon Looney,
yeah.
Yes. Looney is an experienced player. He knows how to play against the best bigs in the league, mainly because he's been on the postseason runs with this team. Like, you're not going to worry about him, but yes, at the same time, I agree. Rudy should definitely have a big night. This should be not even exaggerating, this should be like a 20 rebound night for Rudy. Like, this shouldn't even be a conversation, really.
I would agree. They don't have the size, but then again, the matchup on the other side of that, especially when they bring in Toscano Anderson. I think Poole's playing very well right now. Like, looking at their rotational minutes and seeing the guys that really get minutes, a lot of those guys are matchup problems for Rudy offensively.
Yeah, and I do think the Warriors are going to try and get out and run on the Jazz. I think the Warriors are a team that understand that they don't have size, and so because of that, they're going to look to get a lot of open looks in transition. They're going to be looking to push the pace. They're going to be looking to run, and I think if you're Quinn Snyder looking at this game, I think you want to slow this game down a bit.
Yes.
You want to play half-court basketball with the Warriors. You want to get Rudy in pick-and-roll situations offensively, and you want to put him in a position to impose his will early. And yeah, I do think if you're Quinn, you're trying to get bogey looks early. I mean, we're sitting here talking about the fact that they don't have size. Great. Let's see. I think it's a great test and a great teller of the future. Hey, what can Bogey do against a guy like Draymond when Draymond's guarding him? Because Draymond's a hell of a defender. So if Bogey could have a nice night against Draymond, I mean, I think that definitely speaks a lot.
I also don't think you can start Niang in this game. I think this is... if there is merit to start Jordan Clarkson, this might be the game, because you gave up 116 points to the Houston Rockets.
Right.
And you did that because their guards, Martin Jr. obviously was a handful, but if you look at Tate, Kenyon Martin Jr., like Brooks, House, Thomas, all kind of did what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's a Houston Rocket team that only played 8 guys.
Yeah.
Right? So going into this Golden State game, I don't know. I'm fascinated by the matchups. I'll be interested to see. Now, of course, I think this game tips off at 1 a.m. Mountain Time. Can we please, somebody call the league and tell them to stop tipping these games off at 8 Mountain?
Whoever came up with that shit need to be fired.
I mean, I got to get some sleep, friends.
This is gonna be a grind every week, bro. We're going to the Portland game on Wednesday. Ugh.
Not going to be a lot of sleep, I just don't. Yeah, Forgotten Souls makes a good point that nobody defends Steph. That's impossible. I agree with that. I think he's going to get his, but
does
this
he go
is
for
an
50?
Ugly matchup.
Does he go for 50 or does he go for 30? I mean, you're right. You don't want to. Yes, Steph is going to get his, but there are certain levels to him getting his.
But who's the matchup for Steph Curry on the Jazz? Who's guarding Steph Curry?
I think even if you were to put, even if you were to go athleticism and put Clarkson on him and start the game with Clarkson, I think as a team it has to be a mission to no matter what the situation is,
yes,
we're committing to forcing Steph inside the 3-point line.
And I swear to God, if one person goes under a screen tonight on Steph, they should be cut immediately.
Hey.
I mean, I just am. If I'm the Jazz, I get physical with Steph and I foul his arms. I'm not fouling his body. I am raking down on his arms.
Yeah.
And I am making life difficult on him. I play physical. Nobody. Do you notice that nobody gets physical with Steph Curry? Now, a lot of it is his handle has been ridiculous. I think the biggest reason he's been on this MVP run is because his handle has really fueled his ability to get open looks.
Yeah.
He's knocked guys over that are standing right next to him, like he has dropped them with this behind the back crossover thing that he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. But if you ask me, there's not a matchup on this roster. You're going to put Trent Forrest on Steph Curry? No.
He'll eat.
Are you going to put but who are even the options? Clarkson? Joe Ingles?
Yep.
I guess to a lesser extent. I don't think it's Royce O'Neal.
Yeah, probably
but
not.
Royce with this knee injury at this point, maybe I think you're going to see a little bit of everything. And I think you're going to see what we saw against Denver. They're going to play some matchup zone.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to switch the wings up and down. And I think you're going to see some rotational defense because if you let him go for 35, 40, 45 points, you're going to lose this game.
Yeah, that can't happen. I mean, 30 points for Steph, you kind of figure that, but it can't get to 40 and 50 points. That can't happen.
Yeah, and Jeremy Bolton makes a good point as well. He says Steph is like Harden. You try to get physical with him, your team is going to foul out. But it's the guys that you get physical with. Him. Like you have to. Now, the other thing is it gets dangerous when you foul Steph. I don't think you ever try to foul him on a 3. I just would not. I think you have to foul him anytime he tries to come into paint. There's got to be a reckoning.
But
there.
but that all starts with your mentality in the pick and roll because that's all they're going to do with him tonight. They're going to run pick and roll. They're going to try and get him in ideal matchups, whether that be against Rudy or Bogey per se, or whoever it may be. They're going to try to get him switched off the primary defender. And if that happens, I'm telling you, this defense tonight, you just have to be committed to running him off the 3-point line. Just get him inside the arc. That is a win when you're playing Steph Curry. And then, if he wants to drive the basket, great. Foul his ass. Get physical with him. But I guarantee you're not going to see a ton of that. You're going to see a lot of floaters. You're going to see a lot of teardrops, that kind of a mid-range sort of, not get physical but make the bucket.
And you know what? This is what's so perplexing about Andrew Wiggins. Like, I just don't understand how he is not more productive. Like, he is one of the most enigmatic players, like perplexing, confusing players in the NBA. He's got every physical tool you want, and some nights he scores 20, and some nights he doesn't score but 10.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, like you have all the space in the world, my man.
Yeah.
That's why Toscano Anderson having the kind of impact he's had for them, like that, he's playing 30 minutes a night for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Best team in the NBA right now.
I think you have to go with the Jazz. I think you look in the East and it's still the usual suspects.
Did you see Brooklyn yesterday?
Yeah, I mean I think that they're saying Harden's going to be back really soon. Did he didn't? I didn't miss that, right? He didn't come back
yet.
He
did not.
He should. I'm pretty sure he should be back this week. So again, I think everybody can agree that a fully healthy Brooklyn team is definitely going to be tough to deal with. I don't know. It's not just a Jazz issue. I don't know many teams in the league that are capable of slowing down the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know what that looks like.
And I don't know what the Pistons saw or didn't see in Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
He's given them big minutes and good contributions. And some nights they look terrible, but when Kyrie scores 31, Durant scores 33 and gives you 5 or more assists, they're almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
And I think when you're getting Green for 15 off the bench, and they're playing pretty good big defense right now, they're a difficult team, especially I think when they play small. And DeAndre Jordan not starting for them, I think it's really smart. I think it is, if they get Harden back, and they can even play 2 or 3 games this regular season to end it.
Yeah.
And I would guess he's going to play this week. I would have to think, because doesn't every team play on Sunday? I want to say it on the last day of the season. They're very good.
Yeah.
They are very
more
good.
Talent than everybody.
I think the Brooklyn Nets, until they're knocked out of the playoffs, are the best team in the NBA. And that game against Denver, again, Denver's not playing very well. I get it. Jokic, 29 points, 28 more from Porter Jr. on a back-to-back.
It's pretty good.
They lose at home, but you went to Denver as Brooklyn and you won?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Denver's the best team in the NBA right now. By the way, when does Donovan Mitchell come back?
Yeah,
There's a lot of people who think he comes back in that Blazer game.
I hope so. Hey, like at some point you got to come back here. I mean, it's got to be this week. It's the last week of the season. Like you got to come back. You got to get back into, not that he's not in game shape, but you really want to get him 100% or as close to that as possible with conditioning, because he has been out for a minute. And I am a firm believer that running wind sprints at practice is nothing like, full on, game shape. So I think you just got to get him as close to 100% as possible. And other than that, I don't think, as a fan or as anybody, you can really ask for much better out of what the Jazz have done with him being out. I mean, I think this is definitely a thing where they far exceeded expectations.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see exactly. Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's a really important week. Like typically the last week of the season is kind of just garbage week. Like a lot of times the seeding's already decided. A lot of times, like, there's really not a lot to play for. You see a lot of the starters being rested. But this is not the case this year. And I think that, whether we're talking about the Nets getting their guys back or the Jazz getting their guys back or the Lakers, like, you've got all these teams that have had to suffer through these injuries and now are working their way back.
Yeah.
And this week, I'm just telling you, is a big week for chemistry. It's a big week for making sure that because you want to head into the postseason on a really high note as a team. You want to head into the postseason feeling really good about where you're at as a squad. And I think particularly for teams like the Jazz who don't have, Anthony Davis on the block, they don't have Kevin Durant and James Harden, you got to be 100% locked in. And I think that's what this week is about for the Jazz.
Well, if they can get Conley back against the Blazers, I think that would be huge for them. I think if you can get Don back on the last road trip, OKC and Sacramento on Sunday, I mean, that would be huge for them, because I don't think you can just roll Don back out in the playoffs and think good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're going to have a few days off after the season, but you've got to find a way to get less Conley. Donovan Mitchell's your difference maker.
Yeah.
Like, this is your LeBron James. This is your guy. You've got to find a way to get him back rolling. Let's see. Let me get some comments in here. Let's see. Axel Granzini says, Jazz will put length on Steph. Jeremy Bolton says, forgotten this is 100% This 100% Steph is going to Steph. Yes, Steph is going to Steph. No doubt about it. Forgotten Soul says we can't let Steph have 50 like he did Sunday. I would agree with that. Austin Parkin says, I don't know if the Jazz should go all out tonight. They have a cushion game, and they have players that need rest after a rough back-to-back over the weekend. Probably better to save players for the Portland game.
See, there's some credence to that, because now you've got some breathing room. You know,
and this is a really awkward matchup for Rudy.
Yeah.
And I think Rudy's laboring a little bit. You can see, we saw that in the Denver game, a little less against Houston. Yeah. Rudy's laboring a little bit.
Yeah, he's just tired. I mean, he's played a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
man.
I agree.
I do agree that this Warriors game, if there was ever a game that you were going to just say, hey, we're just gonna sit our guys and we're gonna play as many of our young guys as possible, this would definitely be that game. I think that would I would even be okay with it, honestly.
Yeah, and again, I think you have to remember that you're, 5 days off for the play-in tournament or something like that?
Sure.
It's 6 days off.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the schedule, but I mean, I don't know. I think you're going to have a lot of time to rest your body and to rehab your body. I mean, if you're a Donovan Mitchell, I think you need to play. You need to use that week. I wonder if they'll practice, how much they'll practice. But I think this is a Rudy rest game because I think it's an awkward matchup for him.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can take your foot off the gas. I really don't. It's shocking that the Suns lost that game to the Lakers. It makes me question their ability in the postseason because the Lakers dominated the Suns.
Yeah.
And I know I shouldn't be surprised because we've said once AD's healthy, I think they're going to start playing really good basketball. And I think they are. But this game, Wednesday, for the Blazers is a must-win game for them. Everybody's trying to stay out of that play-in spot, and right now the Blazers are out of it. So they want to stay out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a must-win game for the Blazers. They're going to come with everything that they have. I mean, there's almost no question about that. So I'd be really weary of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're taking your foot off the gas at all. I don't think you're okay losing games if you're the Jazz.
Well, I don't think you're saying you're okay losing games, but I think what you are saying is that, okay, we have an opportunity here because there's definitely serious credence to the idea that you want to get some of these guys some rest. But I've always been a big fan of the idea of just load managing minutes within the game. So if that's what Mike Malone wants to say he was doing with Jokic against the Jazz, fine. But if you're the Jazz tonight and you want to play Rudy 20 minutes instead of 35 minutes,
yeah.
I could get down with that.
Xavier Pena says, after reading your narrative, this is why people can't take you guys seriously. But is it something we wrote that makes you not?
Yeah, I didn't know that we were bloggers.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the negative comments. Somebody called us stupid as well.
Well, I mean, come on.
Well, Monty, you said they were going to Mike Stokes. Monty, you said that the Nuggets were going to win by 20. You are stupid. Okay. Well, I mean,
sometimes I think I just say shit. Sample what comes out of my mouth.
Anyway, I realize I am not a smart man. But anybody who isn't surprised that the Jazz won that game, I'm surprised they won. I'm still surprised they won. I was there, and I'm surprised they won that game.
Yeah,
right.
I think that the casual observer of the Jazz likes to come in the comments and try to get his victory, and great, have your victory. But then when I'm telling you I told you so, when they get bounced in the second round of the postseason, we'll have a different conversation.
Take it easy.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's I have no shame in saying I think that the Jazz will struggle to get to the NBA Finals. I think that it's a serious conversation, and people can get all pissed off about it. But if you really if you seriously take the time and go back and look at what happened in the Nuggets game and look at the matchups and why that happened, I'm telling you, it's a serious conversation.
Kevin's clearly watched this show for a while. Kevin says, wait, you guys went to the game? I thought you didn't watch Jazz basketball. Exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't.
But admittedly, you guys don't. Do you guys even watch Jazz Game Guy is gone?
Yeah. Now we just get the you guys are stupid, which I think is hilarious because that would insinuate that they listen to the show a lot and they're just trying to get an easy win.
Yep.
So.
Miguel Boy says, me trying to find the Monties while watching the Denver Jazz game. Exactly. Casey Finlinson says, easy to Monday morning QB after the game happened. Yeah, I mean...
Listen, I just want to be clear. Like, I love the fact that people are coming in the comments and be like, oh, you guys are stupid. Like, frankly, thanks for watching. It's great for our show. It's great for the channel. Really appreciate you being here, bro. Like, I really do appreciate, like, in all sincerity, I'm being dead serious. I appreciate those guys just as much as I appreciate the people who are like, hey, take it easy. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback. Like, I appreciate the energy that you guys put into commenting, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, Bogey went off for 48, so this is a championship caliber team who's going to have an amazing run through the postseason. That's not how this game works. I think what happened against the Nuggets is Bogey had a career night. That's the most points he's ever scored. He came out in a big game, gave you this amazing performance, and I think there were a lot of things that the Denver Nuggets did not execute on that they normally execute on. And I think that provided opportunities for Bogdanovic. I think that provided opportunities for Jordan Clarkson to come in and take advantage of Campazzo. I look at the fact that Rudy Gobert didn't really give you anything. Nobody's talking about the fact that we told you he wasn't going to give you anything, right? So we were right on Rudy. We were right on what was going to happen with Jordan Clarkson versus Campazzo. And Bogey just went off. Like, give the guy credit. He had a great game.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't think it's really not, like, that's why I say my feelings aren't hurt about these guys coming in here and saying, you guys are stupid or, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Dude, we've been nails on the Jazz all season long. And it, frankly, if we're being really honest, it took a career night out of Bogdanovic for them to beat this team. And it took some seriously questionable rotational decisions for this to happen. So that's why I say, give the Jazz credit. I do believe right now they are the best team in the league. I think that's just where it is. And we'll see what it really is when they play 7-game series against the best teams in the league.
Well, and you have to think that at some point Barton and, somebody was in on P.J. Dozier. Achille Jean-Pierre said Nuggets were missing P.J. Dozier.
Yeah.
Who's their best perimeter defender. It is... Everybody's hurt this time of year, and when you're playing the Jazz, I just don't think that you can make injury excuses. I mean, the Jazz are without their two best players.
Yeah, the Jazz don't have theirs, the Nuggets didn't have theirs, and the Jazz came out on top. Give them credit.
Yeah, I just think it's,
Yeah.
I just think that you have to call out Bojan Bogdanovic with a spectacular performance. Unbelievable. Eric C. says Bojan. Exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're calling for the Bojan drop, Jake.
Bojan.
Is the drop machine on this morning?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We've been having serious conversation. I played a major bag alert. Nobody was about it.
It is, Niall Gardner, good morning to you, says, I don't think nobody expected Bogey to go for 48. It made the difference. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yes. They don't win that. It's AD last night. And I think this is one of the other things with the Lakers is how good are the Lakers right now? The answer is I don't know. I don't know. I know I don't want to see him in the postseason.
Yeah.
If you are the Jazz, that's not the team you want. I think you'd much rather.
Who is the team you want? I mean, what team do you want in the postseason?
Nobody in the can we get the Knicks? Nobody in the West. There's not an easy out in the West. I mean, I don't know. Portland. I mean, Portland, you've matched up pretty well with Portland.
We'll find out.
This is why winning that number 1 seed, the Jazz run the West because they have home court advantage.
Yes.
While you're not unbeatable at home, it's awfully difficult to come into Salt Lake City and expect to get a win.
By the way, that crowd at the Nuggets game was amazing.
They're not far from a full building. I mean, it is. Were you comfortable?
Yeah.
I think with, what was it, half probably?
They're claiming it was half, but it
felt more than half.
It felt like it was more than half. The upper deck was definitely close to full. The lower bowl was definitely half capacity, and then the floor seat was just packed.
Court sides were sold out against Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. the home court's huge for them. I mean, I look at the bracket right now. I don't see any way that, New Orleans catches San Antonio. By the way, how about the Ball brothers last night? I mean, obviously, LaMelo is not healthy.
Yeah.
That wrist is a real problem. He's a better player than Lonzo Ball already.
Yeah.
I mean, and Lonzo's knocking down threes and he's really distributing. But by the way, New Orleans without Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson.
Not the same team.
Yeah, not the same
not
team.
Good.
LaMelo Ball's legit. I mean, he's absolutely legit. But if I look, I think it's over in the West. I think San Antonio, Memphis, the Warriors, and the Lakers right now, 7 through 10. This game Wednesday night's a must-win for the Blazers here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching Portland, when they get here, at best, I think they have the Rockets tonight, and you would think at home,
Yeah.
Gaz Newt's height.
Yeah.
You would think at home they would handle their business. Again, that's a 4 a.m. tip-off Mountain Time, so we won't be able to watch much of that game. I think you're in good shape if you're Portland to win that game. And then it comes down to the Lakers, who are, they're off tonight. Tomorrow they get the Knicks. In LA, that's a must-win game.
Yeah.
And
that's I think if you're Julius Randle, that's got a lot of implications for the after the season award ceremony as well.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's a big-time game in L.A. It's your return to L.A., as a big-time player, as an MVP candidate.
You versus AD.
Boy, by the way, Nikola Jokic is winning the MVP award.
Yeah.
I don't have any doubt
But
about
wait,
that.
Rudy's in the MVP conversation, and he
Stop.
blocked Jokic.
Don't let Twitter tough guy live in your dome rent-free, because there was some of that on Twitter, which is ridiculous. Frankly, there's nobody that's a great matchup. What about this Luka Doncic thing? Am I the only one? And if you watch this show at all, I'm not a Doncic fan.
Yeah.
This guy's a little punk.
Yeah.
Hammer fisting Colin Sexton in the Bulls. What are you doing?
Don't know, man.
He gets
It's
a flagrant
dirty.
2, gets ejected. He's running up all these technical fouls. All he does is bitch and moan.
Yeah.
He's on the Rudy Gobert relationship path with the officials, where all he does is whine and complain.
Biggest kick in the balls you'll ever get.
Is, Luka Doncic's mom hitting you in the nuts, right? What was he doing?
I don't know.
You're Luka Doncic. You're the best player on one of the best teams. And you got a flagrant 2 against the Cleveland Cavaliers and Colin Sexton?
Because you were trying to run out some nut shots? Come on, dude.
Get out. This guy is... I don't know.
It's cheap. It's low cash. It's Bush League. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's petty. You expect better out of a player of his quality.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. How good is he? As just a pure basketball player, he's elite. I mean, he's got every trick in the bag. He has
MVP potential, not this year, but he has MVP ability.
Yeah, I look at his bag of tricks, and I see the step back, the crossover, the fadeaway, the mid range.
I didn't play the whole thing. See, just a little bit.
So now every time I say bagger, you're going to play that fucking song. Is that what this is going to be now? Every time. That song was in my head all weekend. It was to the point last night my wife was making jokes about it. I'm the kind of guy that will be like, oh, you know what? Hey, we got to clean the kitchen because if we leave the dishes there all night, we're going to wake up tomorrow with a major bag alert. I'll just whip it out. And,
whoa.
Yes.
I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
Yes. So my wife is talking about, I don't remember what she was talking about, but she stopped herself from saying major bag alert. She was like, no. No, if I say it, it's going to be in our heads all night. Too late, sweetheart. Too late. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yes, Niall Gardner is right. It's been a great year to have NBA League Pass. Yes.
Yes.
Miguel Boy says, can we bring back slurping? Oh,
Hey.
it never left.
Yeah.
Trust me, Jake is single. Casey Finlinson says the Jazz can't expect to win 7-game series with Forrest and Oni giving big minutes. No, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have Conley and Don back.
You have to. Yeah.
Without question. You can't count on Mike Conley. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. Wow.
Miguel Boy says even if the Grizz take 8, it still doesn't give them a sure playoff spot. Truth. Steve says you guys have sat here and ripped Bogey all season long, and now he has a 48-point game, and you're going to kiss his ass.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. You don't listen to the show if you think that we've ripped him all season long, dude.
We're just going to move on.
Come on.
Like we.
That's one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. Like we don't sit here and rip anybody all season long. We've told you that I can sit here and tell you exactly what we've talked about, which is earlier in the year, and you alluded to this earlier on this very show right here this morning, which is, hey, earlier in the year, he was extremely inconsistent. January and February, he was on fire. March and April, he was not good. And in May, he's been really good.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say, like, how are you going to come in here in the comments and say that we've ripped him all season?
Yeah, don't you come in the comments.
That's like one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard, man. Come on.
Don't
As LeBron would say, be better. Like be better. Come on.
Yeah, by the way, 4 minutes until a major draw on the Sneakers app. The Nike Dunk Low Magic Mushroom.
Oh, that's fire.
The red magic mushroom.
Dude, it's almost 8 already?
It's
Holy
almost 8 or 8.
crap.
By the way, there is a huge Kobe draw.
When is that today?
It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Or 8:30. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably not in on that. But it's fine. A couple other things. So we went to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
At 9:30. It's impossible to get a reservation for food. It was Mother's Day,
Yeah.
So we went to Ruth's Chris.
Yeah.
How do I say this? It was good, not great.
Yeah.
The steak was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not Mastro's.
Uh-huh.
And again, I'm the guy who drives 5.5 hours to go to eat at Mastro's in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
I want it.
With Cycle Sam as our server.
Cycle Sam.
Like,
Love
she's
it.
amazing.
Yep.
Ruth's Chris it's okay. I feel like Mastro's is the luxury brand of steakhouses.
Yeah.
And Ruth's Chris and Fleming's and...
So what was our bill was like
$251.
Like that's pretty cheap for
3 people, 2 steaks, scallops, 2 wedges,
and a drink.
One, my wife had a cocktail.
So at Mastro's, it would be no appetizers, just some bread, but a lot of drinks, and then main course and dessert.
Yes, and we had a dessert, right?
Yeah. I think the thing I like about Ruth's Chris though is that it's not even like when you go out to that level of a dinner, you really shouldn't be worrying about the money. Like it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
when you go out to dinner at a Mastro's or a Ruth's Chris, don't wonder how much things are. If you have to wonder, you can't afford it.
Yeah, like so when I go there, like the things that I like to think about or consider are like the level of service and like the quality of the side dishes. I thought their Ruth's Chris lobster mac and cheese is absolutely phenomenal.
So good.
Amazing.
So good.
I think, one of the things that Mastro's does really well is the consistency with which the steak comes out, like the way it's on the plate. I'm not a big fan of the 5,000 degree hot plate at the table. That's not really my thing, which Ruth Chris does.
Yes.
I prefer the Mastro's style of, hey, give me a sizzling steak on a normal temperature plate, and that way I can actually eat it.
But I got to tell you, the steak and shrimp, the surf and turf was
phenomenal.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Casey Finlinson says 8:24 Pacific time for the Kobe draw.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. 8 because his number was 8 and 24.
Where isn't it?
Undefeated?
Yeah, undefeated, right?
Undefeated?
Yeah.
And the magic mushrooms are in the Sneakers app. Miguel Boy says, can y'all predict both conference playing games? I mean,
I'd have to look at the East. To be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time on the low end of the East just because it's not good.
These Suns are okay.
Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain, because you're a douche.
They don't make the magic mushroom in a 15.
Oh, I'm not in on that one.
Such a-holes. Like, why, man? You're not in on the red magic mushroom. My wife is not in on the magic mushroom. Okay. Good, because they don't make it in a 15, and that is really frustrating. Anyway, no, not going to do it. You guys are balling at Ruth's Chris. Okay, you said it. I mean, I just agree with you.
But yeah, yeah.
No, the podcast is not doing really well. Steve said, "Boy, the podcast must be doing well. We don't make
financially. We make zero.
We make zero on this podcast.
By the way, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
It.
What was the other thing? Oh, COVID.
Yeah,
on COVID, real quick.
Yeah.
The thing that I find so interesting on COVID is that numbers in Utah are going back up now, and it's all young people. And the numbers, it used to be the elderly and older at-risk people that were driving the numbers. Mm-hmm. All of those people essentially are vaccinated now. I think it's 80-something% of that population is vaccinated.
So of the older folks.
Of the older people or people with pre-existing conditions that make them at risk
are
for
vaccinated.
COVID, it's high 80s are vaccinated.
Okay, yeah.
So those people also, by the way, trend higher wearing masks. Mm. They're not getting it. Young people who won't get vaccinated and who don't believe masks make a difference are the ones now that are seeing their positive tests and hospitalizations.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty logical, right? Like, you don't believe in something and you don't want to wear a mask, then you get sick. Surprise,
25
surprise.
to 35.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Is the number.
I mean, I again, I don't mean to be, terse or cold-blooded or anything, but I just don't feel bad for people who don't wear masks and then are surprised when they get sick. Like, I just don't.
Yeah. Frank says the Zion's out this morning. Are you guys on that? I'm not copping the new Zion.
No.
I'm not. And I think it was released in the Nike app. But no,
it's
I'm not
available.
on that.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Zion's new shoe. It's not an ugly looking shoe. It just is not.
I just don't love it.
I feel like the thing for us at this point is we're at a point with our collection where we're not just buying shoes to buy them, right? Like, it has to have.
I would agree with that.
It has to have some sort of. It's got to be a really hot shoe, or it's got to be a more elite shoe for us to really be in on it. Like, this Kobe thing.
The Kobe Pro Hall of Fame is definitely one.
Yeah, I mean, that, like, for me, like, I just want to have at least one pair of Kobe's in my collection. That's all I want. And with the future and doubt of the Nike-Kobe relationship or partnership, it's really, like, I doubt I'll win them, but I'm still going to try.
Orlando says, do you guys have a value on what you think you've spent on shoes? I think we get asked this every day.
We get asked this a lot. Like, I think when we built the shoe wall last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I think we valued it at like 8,000 or 9,000 in your collection.
Yeah, I have 60-something shoes in my shoe wall. I probably own 100-something shoes. So if you said let's pretend my shoe averages what would you say my average shoe purchase is with the 90 included is probably $150.
No, I think you gotta go higher. I'd probably go 170 because all the Jordans are usually $200.
Okay, let's go 170.
Yeah,
170 times 66 is 11,220.
Yeah,
but I've made at least that selling shoes. So like, I mean, it's pretty much the only reason my wife lets me buy shoes is because. If I don't like the shoe, I usually sell it, and I can usually make 50% on a shoe that I sell. Austin says, I'll never understand the fascination with celebrity-branded shoes. They're shoes. You walk in them. It's a culture. It's a culture. It's much more than that. For me, growing up in Chicago, being a Jordan guy, I mean, he was absolutely my childhood idol. I mean, think about if I said to you, Austin, or anybody else, like in the comments on YouTube, who was your childhood idol as an athlete? What athlete was your childhood idol? I had two, Ryan Sandberg and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Those were my guys. And Walter Payton was so much more than an athlete to me. Like, the first time I ever met Walter Payton, I almost cried. Like, I almost cried. Those are the guys that made a difference to me. And that's why I think athletes matter more than just their shoe.
Right.
Like, talking to Walter Payton's son, Jarrett Payton, at the Super Bowl many years ago was a really almost like a bloodletting for me.
In what ways?
In that I was able to talk about the impact his dad had, and we talked about, just like the shoes, the kangaroo shoe brand, the Ruse, like he gave me a pair of shoes there. He gave me a headband there. Like there was just a thing there. There's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where I just think it's, it's interesting. It really is interesting. Casey Finlayson says studies have shown it's the rural conservative Trump supporting Republicans that are not getting vaccinated. True. Austin Parkin says John Stockton. I mean, an absolute great idol. Miguel Boy says, damn, you must be the S if Mr. Monty cried when he sees you. True. You have to be somebody big because I'm kind of a big deal. And it has nothing to do with my weight. And young people are not at risk. Okay.
Here we go.
Again, back to the COVID thing real quick because we got about 5 minutes. But young people are at risk. And I think the thing that people don't want to embrace is coronavirus killing 22-year-old men? Rarely. But what's the other side of the coin? You have long-term, uncurable at this point side effects.
Yeah.
Everything from brain fog to coughing to significantly diminished lung capacity in perfectly healthy people who do not have asthma. One of the things we're seeing in Brazil is that you're seeing all of these men, and it's a male thing, you're seeing all of these men that are struggling with diminished lung capacity for no reason. Well, it's not for no reason. It's because they had coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at all of these side effects. Like one of the things that was on the CDC, I'm going to say it was the CDC live stream the other day when they were updating COVID numbers. They were talking about thickening of blood and that there's been an uptick in blood clotting from COVID. And they're saying and by the way, a lot of people, one of the comments, Drew, is saying, well, how do we know it's from COVID? Well, because before you had COVID, your blood wasn't thick and you weren't getting blood clots and you weren't dealing with reduced lung capacity. Then you get COVID, and a large number of men with COVID have reduced lung capacity and thickening of blood and blood clots. Nobody knows why. Like, Jake, you can talk about this more than I can because I, knock on wood, didn't have coronavirus.
Yeah.
You did. You still deal with days where you wake up and you just don't feel well.
Yeah, like there are just days, and it's gotten better as I've gotten further away from it, but the thing that I still deal with is like I'll wake up and, it'll take me, it's probably a couple days a week where it'll take me probably, 20 minutes to work through some coughing and like just some sort of some unrest. Like, hey, I'm trying to get it going. I got to cough a little bit. I got to drink a bunch of water. And I didn't used to have to do that, so it's not that I'm like dying or anything over here, but like even today I have it's what I would describe as just a nagging cough from time to time. It's not every day, but it is that there are some days where I'll just cough like all day. Like it'll just be like just a sort of like little itch.
Well, and here's a common question that I always get. Tank says, don't you guys worry that you're putting this poison in your body? What if it's all for nothing? Okay, well, it's not poison.
What makes you think it's poison?
This is the Tucker Carlson effect.
Because
that's what Tucker said the other day.
But I want to give this person, whoever Tank, homie, I want to give you the chance to tell me why you think it's poison. Like I would love to hear the logic because this is where my confusion comes in. I don't understand, and maybe it is. Maybe it is Tucker. I know he talked about it, just like you were saying.
And he specifically called vaccination poison.
Yeah, so maybe that's all this is. Maybe Tank watches Tucker. Okay, cool, I get it. But I want to hear from Tank why you think exactly this is poison. What is it that you've seen? Because I don't really care if like you heard it from Tucker. That doesn't make it fact, and it doesn't make it fact that you heard it from CNN. Like it needs to be hey, I seen these numbers and I'm drawing this conclusion.
He deleted his tweet, by the way.
Well, there you go.
Which I mean, I'm not saying he thinks that's wrong.
I mean, no disrespect to Tank, but I think it's funny when you roll out. Well, don't you guys worry that you're putting poison in your body? And then I ask you, hey, well, why do you think it's poison? Like what's what?
Well, and the Tucker effect is that he said the other day that 30 people a day were dying in this country from vaccinations, and there's zero evidence of that. Scientific death certificates that like people dove into that head first. There's zero impact. There's zero evidence of that. And the fact is that the communities that are being vaccinated are the ones that are living a normal life. And whether it's going to a game or traveling, or you're seeing that the countries that don't have widespread vaccination or supply of vaccination are struggling to cope with coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's why you're looking at India, where you have such what's the right way to say it? There's so many people that live there.
Yeah.
And there is just not enough vaccination, and there's not enough belief or buy-in to the vaccination system. There's not enough people. There's no way to socially distance in India. That's the other thing. And we're seeing this in Brazil as well because, we all know favelas from a video game. Well, trust me, those favelas that are essentially shacks on a hill.
Yeah.
That's how people live in Brazil.
Yeah.
And they live right on top of each other. So when one person gets it, it just rips through the village and it mutates and it changes and it's where variants come from. And now we're seeing variants that vaccines are not effective with, which is terrifying. Like you need to get vaccinated. And I've never understood this. We saw a guy get kicked out of Costco yesterday. Well, not kicked out. They pulled him back and said, hey, you need to put this mask on or you have to leave. Right? And all of his friends were ahead. He gets the mask and then goes running ahead of us. And it's like, how do you have the audacity to walk in somewhere where a mask is mandated?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Austin Lewis says, I live in South Utah Valley and nobody wears a mask anymore, like maybe 20%. Where did we walk into where nobody... Oh, Wyoming.
Yeah.
We went to get Lotto the other day, and nobody in Wyoming's wearing a mask. I can tell you that. Nobody is wearing a mask. It's amazing. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know how you justify that.
Yeah,
I really don't. All right, let me. A lot of people are asking about the. Oh, that's a good point. Brylark says the same people who whine about businesses not opening up and mask requirements are the same people who refuse to get vaccine so that we can do those things. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking about the PlayStation giveaway. Okay, so if you're just getting to the show, we announced that we are giving away a PlayStation 5 and one of our branded sweatshirts when we get to 750 subscribers here on YouTube. If you already entered the Xbox giveaway, you do not have to re-enter this contest. We have a large pot with everybody's name in it. You're in there already. But if you look at our subscriber number right now, and we will get much more into this as we get closer to 750 subscribers. Wow, we picked up a lot of subscribers, 566. So that's a lot for one show for us. Once we get to 750 subscribers on that next show, when we say, hey, we got 750 subscribers, the very next show, we are going to pull a winner out of the bowl for a PlayStation 5 and a branded, our Elevated Clothing brand sweatshirt. We are going to give that away once we get to 750 subscribers. LeBron will be back on Tuesday. Shams is saying Lakers star LeBron James is targeting Tuesday versus the Knicks for a return from his sore right ankle. If not Tuesday, it will definitely be Wednesday versus Houston.
There you go.
I wouldn't rush him back. Anyway, the point is.
Right.
We are going to give that away once we hit 750 subscribers. So we're under 200 now.
Yeah.
We're at 566.
I'm telling you, I know 200 seems like a lot, but what did we add over the weekend? Like
we added almost 40 subscribers just in one weekend.
Yeah.
So it goes by pretty quick. So go ahead and give us a thumbs up, please. If you're watching this show right now, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Then tweet us a picture that your channel is subscribed. You can tweet or Instagram The Monty Show, Monty The Monty Show, but you have to tag both of us, The Monty Show and SLC Supercars. That's all you have to do. Take a picture of your YouTube channel, put it on Twitter or Instagram, tag The Monty Show and SLC Supercars. That's the only thing you have to do. 1, subscribe. 2, take a picture. 3, tag The Monty Show and SLC Supercars on Twitter or Instagram, and you're entered. That's it. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything else. When we get to 750, we'll give the PlayStation 5 and the Elevated Clothing sweatshirt away for nothing on this show.
There you go.
Because you can't get to 1,000
without 750.
Thank you very much. All right. 10 minutes away from the Kobe draw.
Yeah. Where are we going for this Kobe draw right now?
Soul Links.
Okay.
And by the way, if you want to get in on the shoe game, on Twitter, just follow Soul Links, SOLE Links on Twitter. it's the best avenue to go. Axel Granzini says, I can confirm from Utah County comment, maybe 35% though. Agree with that. Dave says, thanks for being here every day, boys. Thank you for being here every day. Appreciate you as well. Until tomorrow.
I ain't got nothing, bro.
Until tomorrow, say get vaccinated, Kobe.
Get vaccinated, Kobe.